Hello, I'm your host, Giselle Gamby, and this is the Intuitive Pull Podcast, where together we'll embrace the plans we did not make yet, unfold businesses and lives that are so much greater in wealth in all ways than any business or life plan could ever achieve. My wish is that you make intuition your most trusted advisor. So buckle up, get present, and let's go. So I am. I've had double the joy. It's like having a double ice cream, double scooped ice cream yesterday and today, because yesterday I interviewed the beautiful, beautiful, powerful, wholehearted man, Cameron Stewart, and today I interviewed a beautiful, beautiful. I was thinking about, when I was preparing for this episode in meditation just before Shari, I had this symbol that arrived, and it was of you're like the most beautiful, richest, darkest, velvety chocolate.
Ooh.
That's what you're like to me. And so I am excited to introduce Shari Elle into this podcast. And we were just talking, and I said, gosh, I wish that I actually had recorded what we just said. So I'm actually going to say what we just said. I said to Shari well, first of all, I acknowledge that this is the 40th episode, which is amazing.
So exciting.
Episodes.
So exciting.
And I was saying to Shari that when I learned how to podcast, when I did a program, we were taught that, you had to have a calendar of interviews and that you had to have about 8 episodes up your sleeve so that you could, publish them. And I was telling Shari, that's not how I work. I just get pulled to whoever I am pulled to speak to. And then normally I'll publish the episode that day or the very next day, even if I've published 3 episodes that week, because I'm just too excited not to share it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the whole way we roll though, isn't it, Giselle? Like moving with life, like being awake to the aliveness of life and moving with that.
You see, Shari, you already bring me tears, because you moving with life and allowing life to move through you. For me, you are the expert of that, absolute expert of that. And so I do need to introduce you so that people can, like we could just keep on talking.
Yeah, we could.
I would like to introduce you, because I'd like for people to kind of get a context of, where you play and how you play and what you're doing. So a little bit of a bio for Shari Elle. Shari is a co-founder of Nonviolent Communication in Australia, and she's offered nonviolent communication training, so NVC training, since 2001. She's worked extensively with Dr. Marshall Rosenberg and is certified as an international NVC trainer with CNVC. What does that stand for?
The Centre for Nonviolent Communication.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Shari works with leaders to bring awareness and authenticity to every interaction. She cares about creating authentic, powerful leaders who bring clarity of purpose, honesty, and deep empathy to each interaction. This is the power needed to create the world we want to live in, Shari says. She mentors future nonviolent communication trainers, works in organizations, runs a 6-month peer leadership program, advanced trainings, and coaches one-on-one. And I have known Shari, I don't know how long I've known you for, but I've known you for, I actually do know how long I've known you for. I met you, I think it was 2011 or 12. And Shari is a very dear friend of mine. And I am so lucky and blessed, because Shari is also a peer and we get to play together. And we'll be getting to play together in Croatia in September.
So exciting. running the retreat together. It's just really exciting. How much fun.
Yes.
Travel and play.
Yeah. So I actually just want to make a special mention to the Catalyst, to the coaching group that I have, the people who will be coming. And also I'm inviting former clients. So I'm making a special mention there, because through this episode, if you don't know Shari already, you're going to get the richness, like that rich, luscious dark chocolate that Shari is. And so I know that your process for Croatia is also already going to start just by listening to this interview. And Shari, is there anything that you want to say about to the people that you'll be bringing?
look, I just see that this is such a rich chance to be together and to be with whatever it is that's coming up. You know, there's something that just happens when we're in that kind of space together, and we've all made that depth of commitment to ourselves and to each other. And so it's like, it's not even like, I just see, Giselle, like, you and I have got the experience and everything that we have, but to be really honest, what I see really makes the massive difference is when people have really said yes to themselves at that level of depth. And that's when you get a group of people who've done that, it's just like, oh my God, the magic just opens up. So I can't wait.
Yeah. And you know what? The way you and I work, you know, we don't work like normal coaches where, you know, people can book in for an hourly rate and we never see them again, because that's just not the way we want to live life.
No.
I mean, you and I are all about relationship, and you know, a lot of our clients become very dear friends of ours.
Funny about that. Yeah.
Funny about that.
Them so much.
What did you say?
We love them so much.
Exactly. We love them so much.
How can we work in ways with people where we don't love them to this depth? I mean, we get to see their extraordinariness. So, of course.
And you know what? That's something that, again, you know, what I love about interviewing people that I know is that I can shine a spotlight on what I value so much in the person that I'm interviewing. And that's something that you just do so naturally. I mean, you see you naturally, it's not even that you have to try to do this. You see the extraordinariness of a person just because that's who you are. And what happens from your experience?
Actually, Giselle, I just want to say, it's not because of who I am, it's because of who they are. Right? It's like, I think we're in a world where, because of the training that we've had and because of the stories that we've been told that deaden who we are, we just can't see each other anymore. And I'm just lucky and blessed that I can see people. It's not because of who I am, it's because of who it is that I'm seeing. Like every human being is just extraordinary. Like, that's the truth, right? That's the truth. There's no, that's just the truth.
So I want to ask a courageous question. That's the word I was looking for. Part of the work that you do is you work with people in relationship with each other, whether that be relationships, you know, life partner relationships, or whether that be relationships in business partnerships. And you just said that everybody is extraordinary. Everybody. You didn't say some people are extraordinary and I see those people. You said everybody is extraordinary, and that's what I see. Tell me about that in the context of a partnership that is less than extraordinary.
So the first thing I just want to say is that I don't believe that everyone is meant to be together, right? So sometimes life is actually asking us to move. So here's the first thing I just want to say, is that we have been conditioned. We've actually been conditioned for, depending on who you listen to, somewhere between 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 years. We've been conditioned to be in a domination culture. So we've been conditioned to be disconnected from ourselves and to try and conquer the land or conquer other lands or conquer other people or whatever it is in order to get what we want. We've been running in hierarchical belief systems and structures and ways of thinking. But the biggest thing that separates us from each other is our separation from ourselves. And so what actually happens is that we think that whatever's going on is about the other person. And we keep playing our life as though if, you know, it's obvious to say, if only they changed, everything would be all right. But actually, it's more than that. It's actually that I cannot I cannot be with myself enough. I cannot be with what is alive and going on in me. And so I want to deflect that because that's so painful. The stories I tell myself, it's actually not painful at all when we're actually with it. It's exquisite. It's absolutely exquisite when I'm fully with myself. But because I am afraid to go there in myself, then as soon as I start to touch that, so something happens in my partner, they say something or do something or react or whatever, and then as soon as that part in me just gets touched, it's like now I need to run from that and deflect it back over there again. And so the very fact that I can't be with myself means that it's all about this relationship is going to have a lot of problems, because the truth is I can't get that person over there to change. And the truth is that the problem actually isn't with that person over there. It's that I can't bear to touch that within myself. I can't bear to go there, feel this. It's so scary, or so, I've been running from this for so long that it's terrifying for me. And we don't even know this, of course. It's unconscious, right? It's just a reaction. It's just an automatic response. We don't even slow down enough to see it and feel it and know it. But when we move our focus from that over there that is causing us to experience this distress or whatever, like, and if only they change, then I'd be all right. When I shift my focus back from what's going over there and bring it back to what is actually going on in here and face that, now everything can change. Everything.
Oh, I've got shivers going on. So this is one of the expressions of you that I just love so much. And I do, in my experience from all the people that I've met, you really are the most expert at this. Even our conversation yesterday, we had, how lucky we get to hang out twice today, and I'd love to hang out even more. We had coffee yesterday whilst Shari's in Sydney. What you're able to do is you're able to hold space for what normally wouldn't be said, for what normally would be withheld. And the way that you do that is in such a non-threatening, non-attacking, non-dangerous way. Like I feel like when I'm with you, if I want to say, if there's something that I haven't acknowledged within myself and you're holding me to acknowledge it, I feel like I'm being held in that rich, dark velvet chocolate.
I'm not sure if it always feels that way, but there you go.
I was about to say that. I'm sure for some people, especially at the beginning of their journey, it would be pretty bloody scary as well. So acknowledging that as well. In the context of relationship, and then I want to move on to leadership, which probably is not any different. But in the context of relationship, what has been the most extraordinary experience that you've ever had that you feel like you'll take with you until, your last breath?
Oh my God. I don't know that there's been just one. Like,
I'm sure of that. Actually, it's probably not the right question. Choose one.
Well, like even last night, I'm working with a group in the peer leadership program, and one of the things that we do is we get together in small pods, and once a month we just bring whatever it is that is here, right? And I think what is so, what just touches me through my whole being is to be with each person in the exquisiteness of that connection, and to see them perceive a situation so totally differently. So, I mean, things like, when there's a reactivity from someone close, and then actually turning to what really is going on in me. I'm speaking in vagaries because obviously it's also confidential space, but I think, I watched that. We got together last night with a group. There was 4 of us, and every single person went through the extraordinariness of just meeting themselves, and what they were running from was, like, when they actually turned and faced it, it was like just beauty. And I think, this for me is why I keep doing this work. It's not even work, right? It's just like, far out, I get to play in this rich, dark, velvety field, right? It is. Like, even in the foundation trainings that I run, there's a group of strangers, 20 strangers, 30, however many strangers come together, and they just start getting real in this space. And by about before lunchtime on the first day, they're all there going, oh my God, like, how amazing to be with human beings and to have this level of trust. And oh my God, like, it's like, this is who we are, right? But we think we are something else. We think that we're the identities that I make up for myself. And we think that we're all of our limitations, and we think that we're all our failures, and we think that, that we're all of the things that we should do and shouldn't do. And we've got this fixed way of thinking of ourselves that deadens us. But when we actually are with who we actually are as human beings, it's just it's so rich. It's so extraordinary. And most of us, other than holding a baby, don't even get to experience who we actually are. I sat with, at the foundation training just gone in Sydney, I sat with someone and I demonstrate empathic listening in front of the group. And I sat with this woman who was talking about some of her challenges at work, and they're real challenges that people are facing with staff shortages and projects not meeting deadlines, and real life challenges. And I just sat and listened to her without getting in the way, and just reflected back, what I was hearing underneath what she was saying. At the end of it, I said to her, are we done? And she said, yeah, we're done. And I said, and I just expressed what was here honestly. I said, I don't want to turn away from this sacred space. It is so, I've got tears in my eyes right now. It's like, it's so beautiful to just meet you, to just be here with you. I don't want to turn. I notice I just want to stay in this sacred space with you. And she said, yeah, like she said, yeah, I feel that too, and it's like, how many humans even get that experience? And yet this is who we are.
And what I'm present to with you is that often conflict is the entry door.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Conflict, of all things.
Yeah.
We would perceive that conflict would never open us to meeting who we really are.
I know. That's absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what, as I said, when we did our pod meeting last night, each one of those was through the doorway of conflict. When there's something here I don't like that I'm arguing with, it's like, that's the opportunity, that's the doorway to come home to ourselves, to like actually to meet what's here. So much of our spirituality, air quotes here,
yeah,
but so much of our spirituality is so theoretical, and so like, oh, well, we'll sit down and meditate, or but that's not theoretical, but or there's all the whatever the theories are, right speech or this or that, or and all of those point to truth, right? All of those point to truth. But the thing is, so often the way we relate to it is disconnected from actually being directly connected with our life force and this sacredness of who we are and who we all are. Yeah, so I love this lived experience of recognizing ourselves. And yeah, for me, that's really what I care about, is living it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know what you're talking about, because there are theories and ways of being that spiritually whitewash conflict away.
Oh
yeah, let's not go towards what
let's be
feels
kind.
uncomfortable.
Let's be kind. One of the things that so gets in the way of people being and I would actually say it's one of the things that is actually part of the reason why people are on antidepressants, is because we think we have to be kind and we think we have to be nice. And so we actually start deadening ourselves. Now that doesn't mean to be mean. That's not what I'm saying. That's why I was going like, oh, this is going to be maybe a bit contentious.
Yes.
But that I think I need to be kind or even be compassionate. If I think I need to do that, then I'm going to start to deaden and turn away from the bits of me that are not nice and not kind, and where there's actually life moving in me. And I'm going to judge those things and I'm going to try and squash them. But what ends up happening is we actually start to turn away from that rich velvet and life and of ourselves. And that's the richness of life. But the funny thing is, when we're with all of it, then what starts to naturally move from that is kindness, because we have compassion for ourselves, for all of the bits of ourselves. And so then we have capacity to have compassion for all of the bits of someone else.
And we're able to go into acceptance, not resignation, but acceptance, rather than trying to push it away and judge it and as you said, deaden it.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad that you are bringing up this dangerous conversation, this contentious conversation, because it's not going to be liked by everybody or agreed with everybody, but there will be some people who are listening who have been waiting to hear this. And I have spoken to this in the past. I've written, not spoken, I haven't recorded anything about it, but I've certainly written about it in the past, where I was just thinking there's only one person I need to check in, but everybody who I have coached who began on antidepressants, and I'm not saying that antidepressants are bad, and I'm saying that I acknowledge that there is a time and a place, and I know that it does save lives. It's right. So I'm not whitewashing.
I agree.
And I'm also saying that everybody who, apart from one person, I need to check if they are still on them, but everybody who was on them and then who faced towards what was conflicting them are no longer on them.
Yeah.
And in the past, when I've written about that, I've had people respond in judgment of me and thinking that I'm not being responsible in what I'm saying, but I am being responsible in what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't make a blanket statement and say that, in every case when we turn toward, because I don't know. Maybe there are situations of chemical imbalances or whatever.
Yeah.
Although I was pretty compelled by reading the book Lost Connections, which goes into this quite a bit, including research and so on. But what I do know is that I've worked with a huge amount of people that when they have really allowed the parts in them that are not so beautiful, not so, not so kind, not so nice, not so, kind of white to be there, not as the truth of who we are, but just as the acceptance and acknowledgement of this is what's here, and allowing a turning toward that, then and moving into, as you say, way more acceptance of all of themselves. I have had so many people who've moved off antidepressants and been so much happier in the fullness and the richness of their life. Yeah.
I was just thinking, actually, so the previous episode that I recorded with a wholehearted man, Cameron Stewart, the interview yesterday was so open. Like, he was so real, right? From where he was at and what was going on for him and where he's at now and what allowed that to happen. And I was just thinking, you know, for him to be able to really share himself, all of him, I was just thinking, you know, that was medicine.
Yeah.
That level of acceptance that had him open up himself and show all the sides of him. And there was no editing. There was no editing out as he shared that, and I will share it with him. That was another level. That was more medicine. That level of acceptance, that was more medicine.
Yeah.
I will share that with him.
Can I just say, I just think it's really important that first we're with someone who can hold us, who have gone to that depth within themselves and who know the terrain, that isn't trying to gloss over that terrain. And I know that that's true for you, Giselle. Like, there is nowhere that I could go with you that you would turn away from. You would, you absolutely hold that space. So I would say that it's so important in that we can keep turning toward our despair. And the fear is, I think, that most people have, is that they're going to get stuck in the despair. But actually, where we get stuck is in not wanting to go into the despair. That's where the stuckness is. But when we actually allow ourselves to be with what is, then everything can move. But it's the aversion, again, we can come back to Buddhist or whatever, but it's the aversion to going there that is the very thing that holds us trapped. So, and that's what I haven't listened to your thing with Cameron, but I've heard Cameron speak of some of his journey, and that aversion he turned toward, you were able to hold him in the turning toward the very thing that we're trying to turn away from. And that's where freedom and liberation and knowing ourselves and claiming the richness of who we are. And that's where we don't need the meds anymore, because the meds is part of the aversion. The meds is part of, or can be, I don't want to make a blanket statement, but can be part of that. I can't handle this. The tension is so great. And so then we deaden ourselves, and then in the deadening ourselves, we need to turn to something, and we turn to meds.
So I want to ask you now about leadership, because I know that you have so much joy. And again, this is another part of who I see you being genius at, because I've seen it live in front of me, and I've heard stories that you shared with me, is how you call people forward into their leadership. Like when I think of those words, calling people forward into their leadership, I think of you.
Thanks.
So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, it's funny because we've got this old-fashioned tradition, like what we've inherited idea of leadership. So leadership is hierarchical. There's a leader at the top, and they get to tell the minions below, whatever. And then the minions have to follow the leader. And so then there's all sorts of worry around that. Like if I was to stand in my leadership, then I'd have to be trustworthy and I'd have to be able to get people to like, it's just like, it's so convoluted. But actually, that is based on an old paradigm, and the old paradigm of hierarchy. And what I see and what I know is that every single one of us is here with a purpose. Like every single one of us is here with gifts that we have been given, and that those gifts are not given to us for us. These gifts are given to us for the benefit of all. And it doesn't matter what your field is, whether you're an artist or whether you're a musician or whether you're a grandma. What incredible leadership is being a grandma, right? Yeah. Oh my God. It doesn't matter what gifts you've been given. They've been given to you to give to others. And so as we free ourselves up, we get to actually align with ourselves, to be in our own authenticity. Like I'm weird. Every human, I think, is weird in their own unique way, right? And you're weird, Giselle, right? Like how many people do what you do, right? So we're weird, and it's like really claiming our weirdness, our uniqueness. And as we do that, then it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer what lights us up and what does not light us up, and where our right alignment should be. And we light up when we're in that right alignment. Like that's one of the clues of what's the right alignment. Doesn't mean things aren't hard, because sometimes things are hard, but still you can feel the alignment. And as we become more and more authentic, and also we learn how to own our own stuff and not project that onto others, and how to speak from that place of authenticity, it's like then we can activate whatever tools and gifts and skills we have, and we can fully stand in our full leadership in the world. And that's what I'm excited by. And I see it over and over and over and over again. I'm working with some really cool builders right now, and they want to support the men in their organizations to, become more authentic men. It's like, I know.
I love that. And especially that you speak about builders.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're salt of the earth men.
I know. Isn't it just like,
that we my husband is a salt of the earth man. He's an electrician. And when we have a term, you and I, and spiritual people have a term, woo-woo. He even gets that wrong. He calls it woo-wah. Because you're doing your woo-wah. It's like, it's not woo-wah, it's woo-woo.
I love it. I'm just so inspired by the humans on the planet at this time. Yeah. I really am. Yeah. And I'm just working with such a diversity of people. And I was just talking to a builder on like, he owns a building organization on the weekend, and he was saying to me, I've forgotten one of the words, but he said the builders who work with me have got two feeling words: good and fucked. And he said, I want to be able to support these men to be better husbands and better fathers and better. And I'm just going like, oh my God. And that's his genuine, what he wants to bring.
Yes.
And it's just like, I'm awed. How beautiful to get a chance to work with these amazing people.
I love that story so much. So much. So I want to preface this question by saying that I've interviewed Dr. Carol Haddad twice before,
Mhm.
and we got to hang out about 3 weeks ago on retreat together. And I caught up with her last week, actually, and we talked about what has happened since retreat. And she said, my words summarizing what she said, is that she really made a declaration for what she's now choosing. She really made a declaration. I asked her what has happened as a result of making that declaration. And without, going, again, you and I have got that whole confidential piece. Amazing things have happened since making that declaration. So I feel like I want to create space here for you to make a declaration.
Wow. Actually, that really brings up something in me.
And I just want to say this actually before you answer, Shari.
Yeah.
Is that I feel like, and I didn't know that this was true until I now know right in this moment.
Yeah.
That as we make declarations, we give permission for other people to make declarations. So there's an invitation here for those who are listening to make their own declaration. By being in the presence of yours.
Thank you.
And as I've given you the opportunity by being in the presence of Carol.
Yeah.
So thank you, Carol, because I know she listens. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I am wanting to work with the most powerful leaders of the future that are here to create, that either are already standing in their leadership and want to take it to like the stratosphere of capacity, or the people who are upcoming to stand in their fullest leadership, like to really create the new paradigms on the earth. That's what I want. That's what I declare. And to do that, we need to be, including me, need to be calling in the new within ourselves.
Oh. Yes.
Because that's where it happens. Like we think, if only I learn another degree, or if only I attend that course, or if only I, get knowledge from outside. But actually, it's all an inside job.
And that's why we're speaking today. That is why we're speaking today. That is the main game piece of this conversation. Everything up until this point is necessary and vital in order to get to here. But this is the main game. This is it here right now.
Yeah, this is the main game. And it's easy, it's easy to then go, okay, so I can really, because I've got the inner alignment, I can see that if I get this piece, I do that course, or I do what, like, sure, you may still want to do that, but this is the main game, that it all hinges, like, this is the capacity.
And this is the calling.
This
is the calling.
Yeah.
Thank you. What a way to complete that episode. What an interview. What a blessing. Thank you, Shari Elle, for sharing you. And I want to complete this episode by letting the listeners know that there are many ways that you can work with Shari. I am going to be putting Shari's details in the show notes. She has a training coming up this weekend in Melbourne, which is the 18th and the 19th of June, in case you're in Melbourne and you want to get some Shari juice. And she has many other trainings throughout the year, as well as coaching for individuals and organizations. So Be blessed by her, and contact her. Details are in the show notes. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.